change hands. 1, 2, we're going to do this one hand sugar push like we did a minute ago. We're going to take the lady to a fold. We just did that, and you need it. And we're going to give her a redirect off of that to close position and a 3-bead hit and bring the lady into a stop and back out. Okay, say okay. Okay. If you get that, we're going to turn this into an arm throw because they're world famous. So we're going to, instead of keeping this low, we're going to take it over our head and throw it. But I'm going to keep it a little longer. So I'm going to go one. No, you got to learn it. So I go like this, and I'm going to toss it back around to that redirect into this stop, and then stop, and then throw her out. Okay? Say okay. So you ladies get a 3 and 4, and you go side, replace, and step over. And you have no care in the world about facing your dude until you walk out on the 1, and it sets you apart from the girls that go around too fast. Now, typically what happens, face me on the 5 like right away, okay? So 1, 2, and ladies go, oh crap, time to anchor. Well, you got rid of all your coolness because you didn't recognize that that was a workaround anchor moment for you. Are you with me? So you're like, wait a minute, I'm facing away and I'm going to work that around instead. That is far superior to you getting around too early. Does that make sense? All right, so every time you go blowing through a workaround anchor, you're not presenting yourself in a very good light. Now, when you're turning to the left at the end of patterns, that's called a normal anchor or a straight anchor. You're already facing your dude. There's no rotation required. But you ladies get a sugar tuck or any other pattern that you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to start my anchor and I'm not facing my dude right here. That's when the light bulb's supposed to come on and you're going to do a version of a workaround anchor before coming out on the next pattern. Now, it's only because you're expecting to get a workaround anchor and that you're trying to execute one that the leader then can manipulate that and turn that into an open break or a rock and go during your anchor. So I'm going to manipulate it because I'm taking advantage of going, she does a good workaround, I'm going to change her. Now, if she turned around and faced me right away and skips over her workaround anchor, she's not going to get this open break or rock and go lead. She's not going to get it. So what I do is I go 1, prep 2, and she lands on that, and then I make her do something out of the ordinary. That is not what she normally does. That was 5 and I get her to come back to her 6. That's it. So I'm going to make her do an open break right there. I do that by giving her a little extra juice and a little extra rotation. So when she lands on the 4, when I'm going to give her a workaround, my hand stops over that, not on the floor, on the wood floor. It stays right there. I'll do a workaround. My right hand, 3 and 4, stays right there in space, and she knows she's getting a workaround anchor. When she gets to the 4, 3 and 4, and it doesn't stay there and I take it across her body, it causes her to over-rotate and take her right foot back, makes her hip open, which is the reason this is called an open break, right? Now it's still a triple step. So what I do is I take it across her body, I pull the ripcord, it makes her over-rotate, she does a 5 and I give her a bungee that makes her come back to 6. So it's still a triple. So this goes 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and I make her come back to the left foot. From there, we're going to go into what's called a redirect. 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 at the end of that. Are you with me? 6. Now, the lady's going away on the and. So I'm going to hold my ground on the and so that it creates that bungee feeling, right? So I'm going 1, 2, drop, triple side, 5, catch her arm, and stab the ground and replace 6. Well, that makes her go and 6. I'm making her do that based on the connection and my footwork. Move that way just barely. So I go 1, 2, drop, triple, 3 inside, 4, now 5 and 6. Come see me, Liz.
Yeah, thanks. Which way you want me?
Right here. So I go 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. So I'm stabbing the ground on that and when she goes back, and I'm going, no, don't go off the cliff and come back to me. Ball change, so it's still a triple. So this goes 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and then I'm going to take her into this redirect that we'll talk about in a second. Are you with me? So here's what we ended up doing tonight in the intermediate class. I'll start this way first. So we did an underarm turn with a change hands, and I'm just always asking you when you do normal patterns to just go ahead and be cool when you do them. So don't treat your basics as throwaway patterns like you don't care, only to get to the next fancy thing. So go ahead and do those well. So do an underarm turn like you mean it. 3 and 4, shake hands, 5 and 6. Then we did a sugar push from here. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And you notice that I did a drop triple there because that's our go-to as a leader, is to do a drop triple on the 3 and 4 of every pattern. So I can do a drop triple there. As I drop my 3 back, that's where the connection becomes final, and the followers should be running into that. And followers should always, on any kind of a sugar push, sugar tuck action where you're staying on that end of the slot, the connection should become final simultaneously with your transfer of weight on 3, and it doesn't matter at what length your arm is. In other words, your arm could be straight if he backs up, and there's still finality there. But if he doesn't back up, it's going to be bent. But when she's stepped on the foot, it's still final. So there's still finality there. So it's allowing me to manipulate you and move you through space. So once we got to the cross hand hold, we did a sugar push. As a variation for you gentlemen, because we do drop triples all the time, I had you do a press forward instead, but it's still a triple. Treat it like a triple. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Now, I like to do that press when I'm doing this type of action because I'm inviting her to be a little bit closer to me here. But I'm not really taking my and of my 3 and off the ground. When I do a drop triple, 3 and, there will be a little bit of air under my and on a 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's very apparent that I'm transferring weight 3 separate times. When I do this press, I really don't take my right foot off the ground. I am transferring weight left, right, left, but I'm not taking the right foot off the ground. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And I still am transferring weight 3 separate times, and I just don't pick it up because it feels unnecessary to do that. And I'm just being real with you because that's what's happening. From here, we then did a skater fold that we did in the first class as well. We realized that when we let the lady get to the 4 and we don't do anything to entice the lady to have extra energy, she does a workaround anchor. So it goes 1, prep 2, now 3 and 4. I don't do anything. She does a workaround anchor. We also talked about the fact that anytime you're doing a fold, this hand, you're not going to be able to keep this connection because she turns around. So at some point, your fingers are going to go to the back side of her hand. And then, sorry, you were good. And she got there. When she turns back around, my grip has to be light enough, turn back around, that it slips back around the other side. And I can either choose to keep the wrist or I can go to the fingers instead on the way out, either one. I like to have the wrist. I like wrist. Some ladies don't like it, but it takes out a whole lot of play when I'm using the wrist, right? So I'll get her to go 1, 2, and I let that turn around inside my hand. If she doesn't work around anchor, it just turns right back over inside that hand. If I really wanted the fingers for the next pattern, when that turned back around, I would have slipped back down to the fingers. Otherwise, I can keep the wrist going into the next pattern. What we did, and realizing that if you ladies don't own a workaround anchor, the guy can't manipulate that into an open break or a rock and go. We decided to give you an open break, and it was because you anticipated getting a workaround anchor that it worked. So she gets to the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we talked about how the lady walks a tightrope on the 2 on the first prep. She turns around and she's walking a tightrope again on the 4 for this second prep. So now she knows she's going to be turning back to the right. Now, there's finality here. So when I get here, I'm saying, whoa, horsey with my right hand. She's rotated to the left, and she's not going to let that give. So some of you ladies were letting this be spongy and go across your back when the guy tried to turn you back around. So you weren't receiving the extra juice that makes you open break when you go over there to the 5 and 6, right? So this was the 4. She's forward on the right foot. I pull the ripcord. It makes her pivot on her right. She's going to bring her feet basically together, step back on her right foot. That was left, right. And because I'm like, no, 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 it makes her bounce off and come back. So that's 5 and 6. I want to do that going back the other direction. So this goes 1, 2, 3, and 4, pull 5 and 6. And you leaders can tell that when she goes out, I'm stabbing the ground and then I'm replacing. So these are happening at the same time because my foot said, I'm not going that way anymore, and I'm going to transfer my weight back to this side. I'll do that again. So this goes 1, 2, drop, triple side, 5, stab the ground and replace. Now I've already got Liz moving back this direction. So since she's already going this way and she already has torsion, she is dying to turn to the left at this moment. So as soon as I redirect her here, I let go of this hand and I catch her rib. Now, I'm not going to be in this position, but I want you to be able to see it. And I catch her rib and I stop her and bounce her off of that foot and back out, right, for an anchor at the end. So this goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull, 5, stop her, and 6, redirect, stop her. 7 and 8, 1 and 2. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, stop her. 7 and 8, triple, 1 and 2. So from the top, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, press, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 1, prepper 2, 3 and side, 5, rebound, redirect, and triple step. And from this side, is this the same side? 5 and 6, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and out. I'm going to do it one last time with straight 8 counts because this ends up hitting the 1. And so from the top, if I count measures of music instead of my patterns, this goes 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Hit the 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Hit the 1 and 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8. Some kind of 3-beat hit to hit that at the end. And that's what we did in the intermediate class in the RTX. Thank you very much. Just appreciate y'all coming out. Thank y'all so much.